Hi, my name is Azalea Longmire, and during my research, the most common reasons for boards to discipline a counselor, I didn't find, a common reason. It all differed based on the situation and what the counselor did. They didn't really have a common discipline on or common reasons on why they discipline counselors. So they all had different violations that had the counselor had violated. But from the case I had found, in the case, he had talked about how the counselor was counseling a client that she had knew since the 5th grade. She was counseling this client at a behavior health center. The counselor was also allowing this client to live in her home, and she was allowing the client to, stay there whenever the client felt, and was feeding the client, giving the client clothes, making the client literally comfortable in her home. One night, police was called by the counselor, and the police was called because the counselor had complained about how the client was injured and that client needed to go to the hospital because one night the counselor was allowing the client to come stay the night, and the counselor forgot to unlock the door, and the door was locked when the client got there. So the client got upset, and the client started breaking windows, breaking glass doors, and eventually started harming themselves, to the point blood was everywhere. According to the police, they arrived on the scene, and the client was under influence of alcohol, and the counselor was under the influence of alcohol, and the client was under the influence of drugs, but the drugs were not specified. Some of the ACA codes of ethics and ASCA ethical standards that were violated were A4A, A5D, A6A, A6B, A6E, and C6D. And this is from the ACA Codes of Ethics and ASCA Codes of Ethics, Ethical Standards, 2014. The outcome from the board of the discipline for the counselor was her license were revoked, and she was not able to practice counseling in North Carolina again. So it is important that counselors, take care of their health, and they must seek assistance whenever they are impaired, according to the ACA Code of Ethics, that they must seek assistance for problems to reach the level of professional impairment, and if necessary, they limit, suspend, or terminate their professional responsibilities until it is determined they may safely resume their work. And this is F5B, impairment, in the ACA Code of Ethics, 2014. So basically, an impaired counselor will look like someone who's in distress or someone who may be having mental health issues that cannot do their jobs professionally. So some actions I can take today to minimize the risk of impairment as an emerging school counselor is just making sure I don't overwhelm myself with my work, and actually take time to breathe and not get too tied within situations, and making sure I'm following the code of ethics and the standards so I'm not putting myself at risk. Also, just having those mental health days, and if I need assistance, let it be known. Just taking the opportunity to speak to my own counselor or therapist or my own therapist or counselor, so I can, better myself for my clients.